Hello gamers, we're back with another beta discussion video for Honkai Star Rail. We just get a new update for Jiaoqiu, March 7th and Yunli kit, and some things have changed. So in this video, let's take a quick look what have changed for all these three characters and the implication of their future gameplay. First, let's start with Jiaoqiu, which I think is the most significant changes that happens here. Let's take a look what has changed with his talent first. This is the most important bit. I'm not going to read through all of them again, so if you want to read them, feel free to just pause. But I'm just going to give you the conclusion of said changes. With his talent, the first bit of the talent is still the same. The scaling doesn't change. Maximum stack still the same, and it lasts a number of turns that it lasts for is still the same as well. But now there's a new addition. The Ashen Rose state can also be considered as burn state, and now the enemies take dodge damage at the start of the enemy's turn. But right now it doesn't say whether each stack has their own multiplayer, or this is just, even though you have 5 stacks, you still deal the same amount of damage of 90% up to 225% here. Because this is a unique dot, much like Black Swan Arcana stacks. But with Black Swan Arcana stack, it is said that you can stack them up to 50 stacks, and each stack will increase the damage by a certain percent. But for Jiaoqiu, it doesn't say here. So it is either currently incomplete, or it's just that whatever stacks you have, you still deal the same amount of damage of dot. But this is a unique dot. If you break the enemy with Jiaoqiu, the enemies will have 2 different dots, the normal burn dot and this unique burn state from the Ashen Rose. Originally, this was from his Eidolon 2, I believe. As you guys can see, it's actually from one of his Eidolon, which is previously the Eidolon 2. It is a good change for his overall kit, since now he can also have a little bit more synergy with Dot Team, since he also does a little bit of dots. But it really drops the value trying to pull for his Eidolon, since now his Eidolon 2 is just a boosted dot damage. And what makes it worse, I think, he kind of becomes like a 5-star version of Guinai Fen. And this is kind of like the second instance of a character has somewhat overlapping kit, which I don't think this is a good thing, as now it becomes a straight up power creeping between 4-star and 5 stars. The first instance of this straight power creeping is between Natasha and Lynx, at which Lynx just does so much more than Natasha. So personally, I think this is not good. But let's just take a look at the rest of the changes first. One of his traits also changed. The old one was so much better. Like, you actually kinda help the enemy from inflicting debuff on you, which is kinda good. And they also have a separate damage, much like how Robin will deal damage when an ally attacks the enemy. And this one is quite similar, but it just triggers when the enemy's turn start, and it doesn't count towards dots. The new one, what is this? This is so vanilla. It does kind of help him to get his ultimate faster during the beginning of the battle, but after that it's just a dead trace. I don't think any new character should have this kind of trace, honestly. It's too outdated. And the rest of the changes are pretty straightforward. It's just a nerf on the skill damage and also on the ultimate damage. Nothing changes on both skill and ultimate. So my feelings at the moment, I'm feeling kind of mixed. Like, I like that he now able to synergize a bit better with Dot Team, but I still don't think that he is the best option for them. It would have been so much better if they stick to the Nihility Healer thing. Since because of that, now he can be the sole sustain for Nihility Team in some scenarios that enemy don't deal too much debuffs on our team, and we just need to sustain ourselves through healing. How the dot works still needs to be clarified, whether it's just one stack or you can have multiple stacks of damage. I think also his Eidolon 2 needs more than just boosting dot damage, since the old version has been moved to his talent. And the change in his traits is just straight up bad. But personally right now, I don't like how he kinda so similar to Guinai Fen. If anything, it should have been like a fire dot buffer. That way he can work better with Guinai Fen instead of just Guinai Fen with more stuff. And perhaps that could be the teammate that Hook wants to have. I don't know. What do you guys think about Jiaoqiu changes? As of now, I think that he's a very weird unit to have. Next, let's take a look at Yunli's changes. As usual, let's take a look at her talent first. Nothing much changes except that now every time she gets hit, she will regenerate 15 energy. And this was originally on Yunli's trace, so nothing too crazy here. As for her ultimate, mostly the damage has been nerfed. And before, if you proc into it slash, the next time you will proc into it call for sure. And that function has been moved to her trace instead. Swap with the 15 energy traces that was moved to her talent. And for her technique, it's just a longer duration, nothing major. And for Eidolon, I think it's just mostly a rearrangement. Like the Eidolon here has been moved to the last Eidolon. Now the crit has been reduced as well, and also added physical resistant penetration by 20%. And the Eidolon here has been moved the one above and been replaced with gaining Vec resistance. It's a meh one, a bit underwhelming honestly. And the last Eidolon, the rewarding has been become a bit more simple, I think. And now seems like it doesn't last more than just one turn. So nothing much changes for Yunli except just few rearrangement and combining some Eidolons together, and mostly just damage nerfs. And lastly, let's take a look at March. As for March, there's not much changes I think except just a few rearrangements and some nerfs. Her enhanced basic attack now deals less damage as usual. And the rest are just rearrangement between her Eidolons and traces. And the new trace has been replaced with one of the Eidolons, which is the one right here. And her old trace has become one of the Eidolon, which is the one right here. And one of her Eidolon has moved to another Eidolon, but with more buff. So even though she gets less enhanced basic attack scaling, but at least now she gets quite a bit more crit damage on her. And also one of her trace point has changed from crit rate to crit damage. So it seems like she has a lot of crit damage built on her at this point, and you might want to go with crit rate body piece or something. And her stats have changed as well. She a bit slower, but a bit more tanky. Oh yeah, and also lastly, Jiaoqiu Lycon has also changed. Before, this is a very good defensive shred for all Nihility unit, like someone like Pela can use as well. But now it has been tied into Dot instead, so Pela has lost the ability to fully utilize this light cone. And the amount of damage received for the enemy has been reduced as well, so another nerf. Not very liking this one. Tying it to a Dot, it's kinda restricts the usage for other teammate. It won't matter for most people since most people only have one copy, and mostly gonna be on Jiaoqiu as well. But from game design perspective, I don't think it's a good thing. Anyway, that's all of the changes that has been applied to all these characters. Mostly nothing majors, except a lot of nerfs for all three characters, and some questionable changes on Jiaoqiu. Personally, I'm feeling mixed about it, as I've said, but we'll have to wait and see for people to do some crazy showcase, I suppose. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what are your thoughts regarding these changes in the comment section. Until the next video, stay sharp gamers.
Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe!